When I was watching the election, the radio station, like some cars around Kapisani. When I heard that, I called the...
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to you viewers. I hope you're fine wherever you are. Welcome to Talk to Africa. My name is George. Has UDA been able to redefine party nominations? As you know, the parties have already given us their structures, they've given us their economic models, and they've also showed us some of their organization skill. If you are watching this channel for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel. We will really appreciate. Party nominations are very, very, very important in as much as we don't give party nominations a lot of space. Party nominations are just as good as an election, especially in places where parties like UDA, ODM, Jubilee, Wiper, Chap Chap, have basically called as their strongholds. If you are elected in a UDA, or rather, if you get a UDA ticket in the middle of Eldoret or Rift Valley, you are as good as having been elected. So that actually tells you how important party nominations are. ODM have never been able to put their acts together in their party nominations. Party nominations also show democratic space. Party nominations show democratic space, and basically, it's within parties that governments are formed. So people who are elected essentially grow and actually become our leaders. So party nominations are very, very important. Has UDA been able to redefine party nominations in Kenya? Party nominations are very important, as you know, especially in their strongholds. ODM, UDA, Jubilee, Wiper. Within their strongholds, party nominations are very, very important because whoever is nominated becomes like an automatic MP or an automatic governor. In the past, we've had issues with party nominations. We've had issues of logistics, we have issues of bribery or voter bribery, we have issues of just management and essentially, a lot of confusion. So what has changed in these particular party nominations? Everybody had put their eye on William Samoei Ruto because of what he'd said about party nominations, and of course, given the fact that he wants to try his best to ensure that party nominations in UDA are above board. I know for sure parties can nominate through various methods. There's what they call direct nomination. There's basically the usual election where the wananchi elect their leaders. And there's also what they call consensus. All these things are good and nice when discussed on paper. But that should not make us lose the reason why parties nominate candidates. Parties are supposed to nominate candidates to get the candidates who are the most popular candidates to be able to represent them. It's not even just a question of popularity, it's also a question of ability. A person who is going to work for wananchi. UDA's test basically came through. And we'll show you we've shown you some of the clips of party nominations. Would you say that UDA has been able to redefine party nominations in Kenya, given the role or the purpose of party nominations? When it comes to issues of logistics, voter bribery, and disorderliness, lateness, and all this kind of stuff, I would say that there's nothing much that has changed either within ODM or within UDA. Because as you've seen, there were some polling stations that actually opened late, even as late as 10. As you can see, there are some places like in Bomet, where in UDA particularly, where candidates were complaining of various things, which is the usual. This is what we know, So in places like Kipia, I think, a whole van disappeared or was burnt, or ballot papers for UDA were burnt. But that aside, like I said, party nominations have a specific purpose, not the sideshows that we keep talking about. Like ODM is known to hold very interesting party nominations. What is the difference? Has UDA redefined this space? Before I get into that answer, I'll probably want to look at the ODM party nominations. The ODM party nominations are just the usual ODM party nominations. The only difference that I saw this time round is the fact that they were using a gadget to actually elect, their leaders. The direct nominations are there as usual in ODM. As a matter of fact, ODM direct nominations have brought a lot of issues, especially in Siaya of James Orengo. So he's been given a direct ticket by ODM is a way like just being put on top of people, because in there and the undercurrent shows that Orengo is not a very popular candidate. The other thing about ODM is that direct nomination issue is the issue of Gladys Wanga in Homa Bay. And you've seen some of the stuff that has come out in Homa Bay. So except for the fact that they are using essentially the electronic systems, or the electronic kits to actually conduct their elections, ODM has remained ODM. As a matter of fact, we know for sure if it hasn't been done, Anyang' Nyong'o will probably be the nominated candidate in ODM for gubernatorial position. This is the thing that people should be guarding against, because elections, especially of governors, election of governors is key. A county cannot develop without proper governance, and this interference by parties in terms of nominations is a very serious thing. That is something that we'll look at another time. Regarding UDA, I really like the party nominations in Kiambu, and we'll look at that, where candidates are actually vying almost freely within UDA, and that is a very good thing for UDA. And again, in Kiambu, there wasn't any commotion apart from a few areas where, things were happening. But generally speaking, it was smooth and, open in one way or another. Has UDA been able to redefine party nominations in Kenya? I would say UDA and William Samoei Ruto have done very well, relatively very well in party nominations, given the fact that the forest is still the same and the monkeys are still the same. But within that forest and monkey, he's been able to come up, at least give some kind of sanity in party nominations is not like we've seen in the past. Jubilee has more or less taken the approach of nominations, consensus, like most of the parties in northeastern area. Wiper too, there was that nomination of direct ticket given to Governor Sonko, former Governor Sonko. So in terms of performance, I think UDA has done well. They've passed this one, and I give it to them. You remember, the issues that we've been able to test is their economic plans. We've been able to test their organization skills. Like when I'm talking about organization, how are they coming up in terms of, the structures like Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. Azimio is a coalition of parties, okay? So Raila Amolo Odinga will basically be vying as a presidential candidate for Azimio, unlike Kenya Kwanza, where William Samoei Ruto will basically be vying as a UDA candidate and not a Kenya Kwanza candidate. I do not know at the moment where his running mate will come from, but I believe that even if the running mate comes from, even if his running mate is Speaker Muturi, who has his own Democratic Party, we've seen the structures are actually very different. In terms of economic models, as we'd said in the past, William Samoei Ruto's economic model is bottom-up economic model. Is basically borrowed from UK, where it's an open market system, and borrowed a little bit from USA, where essentially it's a kind of market system with a little government intervention. In terms of Raila Amolo Odinga, he's borrowed heavily from Germany, which is a social market kind of economic model, and also a little bit from the USA, which is basically where government can intervene, like in his programs of, 6,000 shillings, and this kind of stuff. So by and large, they've actually realized that there's need to cushion the very low people in our society. So those models, we've already tested them. And in terms of the models, like I said earlier, I think Azimio has it right in terms of their economic plan. In terms of UDA has not been able actually to explain their own, bottom-up model well, or let me say satisfactorily. So that in terms of economic plan, I give it to Azimio. In terms of nominations, I give it to UDA. In terms of organization, cohesion, given the Kalonzo factor, and looking at UDA, where you have Musalia Mudavadi, you have, Speaker Muturi, UDA has more or less taken a better, or given us a better picture. What do you think? Has UDA been able to redefine nominations in Kenya? Welcome to Talk to Africa. Thank you very much.